everyone, welcome to Silver Penguin Arty Crafty. My name's Anna. If you are returning, welcome back, it's great to see you. If you are new here, please do consider subscribing and remember to hit the bell when YouTube asks, that way you are notified when I upload any new videos. The content I make is mainly around DIYs, DIY on a budget, DIYs to do with the children, DIY crafts for your house, a bit of home decor, and sometimes I add a little bit of the more expensive crafts to do, things like resin art, that kind of thing. I would love to bring that to you, so I will do that at some point in the future. If that sounds like the content you like, then please do consider subscribing. If you are liking the video today, please give us a big thumbs up. All your likes and comments really do help my channel grow, and I am ever so grateful for those. I love also hearing what you guys have got to say, so any comments, any tips, and if you've tried any of the crafts, please do just comment below and I would love to read those. With all that said and done, here's your video. Happy crafting, everybody!
Start, we're going to take a white sock. These ones are the ankle length socks, and also I've got a collection of these cozy socks here. I've got a number of different ones, got red ones here, got stripy green, and I've also got some of these Chanel ones from light grey through to white, but I'm going to use these darker grey ones here, more of a minky colour. And in addition, I've got some additional ones, got some stripy ones. These are more pastel-y kind of colours through to hearts here with some nice sort of light turquoise colour. And I like these, might use these somehow. And I've got some of this doll stuffing as well. I'm going to use that for the ends of the hats. And I've got my glue gun. I've got these little embellishments, some larger wooden ones, smaller wooden ones, and I've got some little jingle bells. These are very cute, very small, but they're very cute. Got this twine here, got some blusher, and I've also got these cardboard tubes. These we can roll up and use for the hats. Now we either use the stuffing or I use the cardboard tube. And then we've got a selection of furs, got some lighter fur, some grey fur, and I've got this Mongolian style fur. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. The first gnome will use one of these two here, so either this light one or the light grey one. Now these two were mats that I picked up in B&M, and I cut the backing off the mat and then got the fur on the front and cut them into these little squares, and we will adapt these later when we get to use the gnome. This one was a heart-shaped cushion I also got in B&M, and this is the fluff that came out the inside of the cushion, so I'm using both parts of it for the gnome, and this one's a much more sort of wriggly style fur. And inside the gnomes we're going to use rice. I've got a pint here, but in total I'll probably use about 1.5 pints. And the rice goes into your white sock to start your gnome. As just discussed, to start your gnome you get your white sock, roll over the top. This is how I find it easier to do it. So then you can get your pint glass with your rice in it, and you use your sock and you tuck the sock over the top of the glass, just like so, and you tip it up and you give it a bit of a shake, 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 and then you take off the sock and give it, just sort of thump it down a little bit like that and squidge it right down, make sure the rice settles. Looking at this and thinking it's not quite enough to grab a nose there on the sock, so then I have that extra 1/2 pint that I referred to earlier, so I'm grabbing it and I'm thinking I'll roll the sock over, and here's the 1/2 pint of rice, so it's just to go in. So roll the sock over, same as before, oops, on top of the pint glass, tip it up, let it slide in, pull the pint glass away, and then give it a bit of a thump down. Make sure the rice settles into the shape of your gnome, so it's sort of just a big round blob. And then what I do is I grab some of these little snags. So these are just the clear hair ties you can get. I picked these up in B&M. So I take a clear one and I get my sock, and all you just want to do is you want to tie off the top of the sock with this, so you wrap it around as many times as you can to get it tight. And the purpose of this is just to seal the sock, and so no more rice can fall out. Okay, so the next step in your gnome is to make his nose. So we light on its back, and then what we do is we get another snag. So I've got another clear one out the packet. And we pick that up, and what we kind of do, we just sort of grab the front of the gnome. So you get a handful, like that. And you're just trying to pick up as much rice as you need. So a little bit for a small nose, big bit for a big nose. and then we grab the snag and we wrap it round like you were doing on the top of the sock. So you wrap it around a couple of times to secure. And then what I do, just to make sure the rice is extra secure and make sure that if there's any time that the elastic bands do disintegrate at all, then I pick up a bit of thread and I just tie it off at the top, a couple of knots in there, and I cut it off tight just to add that extra bit of security. So I do it around the top and I do it around his nose. And then those bits done, the next step is to tidy up the top. So we cut off as much of the sock you don't need. And then what we're going to do is tidy it up a little bit. So all these extra little bits that are around the top need pushing down and sticking down on his head like that so it's flat. So what we do is we take the glue gun and we run a bead around the edge and we push the top of the sock down on so it sticks flat on top of the head. And I'm just going to do this around the top of the whole of the gnome. And then the next bit to do is you want to make him look like he's been outside a little bit, a bit of cold, bit of Christmas blush on his face. So grabbing a little blusher, again, this is just from Poundland blusher, a Poundland paintbrush as well, nothing particularly fancy here. And brushing a tiny bit on his nose to give him a bit of wind chill and a bit of frostbite. And the next step I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dressing him. So you'll remember that we talked about the Chanel socks and I said I'm going to use the dark grey socks on the back of the pack. So these are again from B&M, 3 pairs for £4, which is not too bad at all really. And I can reuse the other socks for additional gnomes when I make these in future. So what I'm doing here is just opening the packet up so I can get the socks out to use them. So this is the sock I'm going to use. I've got the dark grey sock ready to go. So I cut across the heel and I'm kind of making like a little jacket for the gnome. So cut from one side of the heel to the other and I'll use the other bit of the sock, the toe sock, on the second gnome. So we'll come back to that one. So I pick up the bit I've cut off and just wrap it around the gnome, stick it around his body, pull it right up so he's tucked right in. You want to make sure that he is very secure in there, it's pulled right up, so when we attach the extra bits you can't really see the edges. And there he is, all tucked in, up round his nose, ready to go. So the next step is we need to secure this bottom bit. So similar to what we did on the top, we run a bead of glue around the bottom, pulling the edges over, making it nice and tight and secure so it doesn't come off. And we run this all the way around the base. And then repeat the steps on the top to secure the top. So running bead of glue around the top, pulling the edges in and securing them tight. So now your little gnome is all dressed with his jacket on. The next step to do is sort out his beard. I had these 3 coloured furs here, so I've got this darker one, I've got this light beige one, and I've got this light grey one. And it's just deciding which colour you would prefer personally. I think I'm going to go with this one, the light beige one. So now you're going to take your square and you're going to get your scissors, and you need to cut round in this shape here just to give it a beard-like effect. Be careful when cutting, you're just cutting through the top layer of the backing because you want to keep the hair to look like it's naturally falling over the beard below. And if you cut around and cut off the fur, you're going to end up with a funny shaped beard. So just be very careful when snipping round and just tidying up this square to make it a beard shape. Now that's done, the next step is to cut out his nose so that we can pull it up tight. I do this in a couple of ways, I'll show you another way later. One way is to fold it in half, work out where the nose will fit, slide your scissors in, and again to be careful just to cut through the backing. Snip round, sort of semicircle shape, and all the way round to the other side where you made that little nick, and then you would have a nose shape cut out. You want to try the cutout on your gnome to make sure it sits up. I'm pulling it up here thinking, I'm not sure it's sitting quite far enough. So I'm thinking, no, I'm going to cut out an extra little bit on the bottom. So get the scissors, cut a little bit more out so it pulls up tighter. Be careful with this fur, it really does shed. Make sure you try and keep it as tidy as possible. And trying this on the gnome the second time, I think it looks much better. Sits much higher, much tighter to his nose, so I'm much happier with that. So to secure this onto the gnome, as always, grabbing my hot glue gun and running a bead along the top here, round the cutout, down one side, back up the other, and along the top. Be careful not to burn yourself with hot glue, it can be very, very warm, obviously. And then we pick up the beard and we pull it up towards the gnome and press and secure where we want it to stick. And there he is with his little beard, very pretty. Tidy it up a little bit, get the extra fur that has shedded, and we're done. Next step is to do his hat. So choose your cozy sock, whichever one you want. This one I'm going to go with this lovely red. I think it's quite festive. I like the green and white. So I just need to take it out the packet. Again, these were from B&M. So I'm going to take it out the packet and show you how to make it into a hat. So similar to the last sock, we're going to cut across here from the heel across, and this is going to make into his hat. I can use the top half of this sock that we don't use for this Christmas gnome for another gnome's jumper to wrap him up tight. And just make sure that the sock fits fine. You slide it on, have a quick look. It's going to sit either up or down, whichever you fancy really. Pull it right down over the back side, and it's a bit wonky at the moment, but we'll secure it with hot glue in a second. And it's just making sure it looks right and it has the effect you would like. And I like that one, I like the red, I like the green, I think it looks very festive. To make this one a little bit different, I'm going to grab the stuffing I mentioned from the cushion earlier. I'm going to push it right into the end of the toe of the sock. I'm going to ball it so it looks a bit like a bobble hat. And then I grab another one of those snag bands, one of the clear ones, and I'm going to wrap it round, and there we go. It looks like a bobble hat on the end. Just makes it a little bit more Christmassy. And then put that back over our gnome and make sure it fits and in place, and then I will go round and secure it with glue to make sure it sticks and stays put. And here he is, Christmas gnome number 1. I'm going to tidy up and take all the hot glue strands off later, but I think he looks very cute with his little grey jacket, his light beigey beard and his little bobble hat on top. Now you can leave it like this or you can customise further, and I'm going to do that a little bit by adding one of these snowflake embellishments on the side. I'm going to secure it with hot glue just so it stays put. I like that it makes it a little bit more festive and then a little bit more personalised to how I like him. And then my final embellishment for this Christmas gnome, I'm going to stick a little jingle bell on the top of his bobble. I think it breaks up the green of the bobble and just adds that extra little bit of Christmassy feeling. And there we go, Christmas gnome number 1. I love the little snowflake on the side and the little bobble on top, and he looks fantastic. He's all ready to go into the charity tombola that he's been made for. I'm going to make a number of these over the Christmas period. I just think they're so cute. So I'm going to show you another variation now using a cardboard tube in the hat instead of the bobble and the stuffing, and I'll speed this one up as you've just had all the instructions, but I'll be showing you every step by step. And here are my two little Christmas gnomes, one with the bobble on the top and one with the cardboard tube if you've just seen, with the different embellishments on the side, one snowflake, one Christmas tree and different coloured beards. I do like their little personalities, they look very different and they are just so cute. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and if you have, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you do make one of these, do let me know in the comments below how it has turned out.